Good afternoon and welcome into Sports Talk at the Stadium. Today from Gaylord Family, Oklahoma, Memorial Stadium, Norman, Oklahoma. Our report is brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council. Today, a day that anyone involved with South Carolina football will long remember. The Gamecocks come into the backyard of one of the blue bloods of college football and totally dominate Oklahoma. Final score of 35-9. It was homecoming for the Sooners, and it was somewhat of a homecoming for Shane Beamer and his family, as of course he once coached at Oklahoma and the family lived here. So very special day for the Beamer family, very special day for the South Carolina football program. Coming off their performance and their loss in Tuscaloosa last week to Alabama, South Carolina believed they could come in and win this football game and really take it to the Sooners. In Beamer's words, knock that door down. They've been so close. They felt like they were ready to do it, and they did so today, and they did it with defense. Really, the defense set them up for 21 points in the first 9 plays of the game for Oklahoma. That would be all the Gamecocks would need. The offense did their part by eating up the clock and not turning over the football and not getting a bunch of penalties, the kind that have hurt them throughout the season. So from that standpoint, the offense was efficient, but the Gamecocks only had 254 total yards. That's their second lowest output of the season. What's funny is their lowest output of the season was 252 yards, and that was at Kentucky, and that was also a win. It just shows you what the Gamecocks can do with their defense and their special teams. Their special teams were also very good today as well. So, again, it was a complete game, complimentary game performance by this Gamecock football team, and a victory that they hope will really boost them after the open week into a very strong November, the so-called November to remember. But today, the Gamecocks, it was all defense. As I mentioned, the first 9 plays for Oklahoma on offense resulted in 21 Gamecock points. That's pretty much ridiculous. This crowd here, which is used to championship level football, stunned by what they were seeing. They were booing. Oklahoma changed quarterbacks. They're having a lot of problems with their offense. Injuries, a lot to do with it. Youth, inexperience at quarterback, a lot to do with it. An offensive line that's had some injuries, a lot to do with it. So it's an offense that's lost. Their defense is very, very good. That's the reason why South Carolina did not have a big day offensively. Had this been a day where the Gamecock defense struggled in any way and Oklahoma got anything going on offense, could have been a different story, because the Gamecock offense was not great today in producing yards and producing scores. They did have their longest play was a 33-yard touchdown pass late in the first half from Sellers to Simon. Otherwise, they had a couple of other long passes, but not much in the running game whatsoever. Gamecocks finished with only 74 rushing yards, but Oklahoma had only 53. The Gamecocks only ran 68 plays. That's a product of the defense getting those turnovers. Oklahoma trying to go a little up-tempo today, and that's something that Shane Beamer thought they would do. They ended up running 83 plays. But here are the big numbers. 6 fumbles by Oklahoma, and they lost 2. The Gamecocks had 9 sacks for 77 yards and losses for Oklahoma. They also had 13 tackles for loss. The 9 sacks by 9 different players. And Beamer said after the game he was told that's the most sacks ever allowed by an Oklahoma football team. So that is something there. Sellers was very efficient once again coming off that Alabama game. 16 of 24, 175 yards and 1 touchdown. By no means spectacular, but he protected the football. On the touchdown pass to Simon, he had a beautiful play fake that sucked in the defense and allowed Simon to get behind the secondary, and he was wide open for that touchdown score. So running the offense, protecting the football, he's getting much more comfortable with that. Simon had 4 catches, 43 yards. I mentioned the touchdown. Jacobs had a nice day catching the ball for the Gamecocks. He had 4 catches for 40 yards. But the game balls went to the defense, obviously. You had Eman Worry, who had 11 tackles. He had a pick 6. You had Martin Scott, who had 11 tackles. You had Knight, who had 11 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. You had Eman Wari, who had another interception. So a big day for him, 2 interceptions, including a pick six. The Gamecocks had the fumble early that led to their first touchdown, a short run by Rocket Sanders. The defense was hunting, as they like to say now. That is the mantra of the Gamecock defense. Be the hunters. Go out and hunt. And they played that way. Reckless abandon on defense today for the Gamecocks. Special teams, the Gamecocks ran in a 2-point conversion. They stopped a fake punt attempt by Oklahoma that led to a field goal. They did attempt a fake field goal, the Gamecocks did, and Beamer said it was there, it was wide open. Kroger, he said, held onto the football too long, and that's why they didn't complete the pass. So the Gamecocks come in to Norman, Oklahoma for the first time and leave with an impressive victory. Ordinarily, you would say, okay, that's a one-off. But when you go back and you look what they did in the final 2 quarters plus the last couple of minutes of the first half and then the final 2 quarters at Alabama, and then you throw this on top of it, you have to say, look out for South Carolina in November. There's a lot of promise there for this football team with the schedule. It's tough still. It's still tough, but it's manageable. And that's where you want to be going into November. And the Gamecocks will see if indeed it will become a November to remember. And we'll talk more about this game tomorrow. Beamer will have his Sunday conference call. We'll have that covered for you at 5 o'clock. Don't forget to check out the other post game on our website right here, sportstalksc.com. And on Monday night, we'll hear what you have to say about this Gamecock performance. That'll do it from here in Norman, Oklahoma, brought to you by the South Carolina Beef Council as we come to you from Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium here at the University of Oklahoma.